I remember the day I made a quick call to check on one of my ATMs, and the response I got left me frozen. The ATM was gone. I couldn't believe it happened, and all because of one oversight on my behalf. If you're in the ATM business, this is a mistake you can't afford to make. All right, so one of the biggest mistakes I ever made in the ATM business was we had a potential new location. And so I went into the new location, talked to the owner, and we found a position to put the ATM. The challenge was there was no electricity on the wall where I wanted to put it. So the owner says, you know what? I'm gonna get an electrician to put electricity on this wall, but for meantime, we're gonna put it on this wall. And I said, okay, fine. And I said, hey, can you not drill it down because we're gonna move it and I don't want the holes in the floor? I said, yeah, no problem, we'll just leave it here. All right. So then what happened is, I said, when are you going to get an electrician? And they said, well, we're going to get the electrician next week. Okay, well, next week turned into next week, and then next week turned into 2 weeks, and then 2 weeks turned into a month. And I said, hey, what's going on, electrician? Oh, yeah, my buddy's going to do it, but he's all busy now. He's going to do it when he gets some spare time. And I said, okay, fine, whatever. And then guess what? I just forgot about it. I'm like, okay, no problem. What I forgot about is the ATM is not bolted down. And this went on for a month, 2 months. It was 6 months. ATM was not bolted down, and I never followed up on it. So now what happens is I noticed, because the ATM calls in every so often and they're closed on Mondays. So I noticed Sunday it closed in, Monday it calls in, and then Tuesday it doesn't call in, Wednesday it doesn't call in. So I called the location and I said, hey, you know, is the power out over there on that wall? What's going on? The ATM hasn't called in. It says, well, that's a funny thing you mention that, because when we came in Tuesday, ATM wasn't here. We just thought you came and filled it in Sunday night. I said, no, I didn't pull it. I didn't pick it up. I would have told you if I had picked it up. They said, well, the ATM isn't here. So now I said, okay, I'm going to come right down. So now we go down and we look at the video footage, and we notice that there was a big party. They were closed on Monday, but there was a big party on Monday. There was people in the bar. The manager was there and some friends of theirs. They were there having a good time when the bar was closed. And what happened is the people that were in the bar, everybody left, and they came back about 20 minutes later, and two people who were in the bar having a good time, they end up taking the ATM. So they stole it, and why wouldn't they? It wasn't bolted down. So they stole the ATM, they put it in the back of their truck, and they took the ATM. So the good thing is they were on camera. We ended up pressing charges against them. Not me, but the state came in to press charges to get them. They had to pay back the money to us for the ATM and the money that was in there. So that was a good thing, but it would have never happened had I just bolted it down. So the lesson I learned is I always bolt down the ATM. I don't go into a situation without bolting it down. And I realized, hey, before I'm going, you know, we could have easily put it on the other wall and just left it there. It was there for 6 months. It wouldn't have mattered. I should have said, hey, we're going to put it here, and that would have been it. Two things I do. I don't go in a location without it being bolted down. That's the deal breaker for me. I always bolt down the ATM, and the first thing we do is we look for a spot that has electricity. So I'm not going to wait for an electrician to come in anymore. So I make sure that there's always electricity on the wall. So when I'm looking for a location in the store, is there electricity on that? If there is electricity, then we put it there. If there is, the guy says, well, I'll get an electrician. Nope, well, you know what? We're going to put it over here, and then that way you don't have to get an electrician. And if they say, well, we're going to get an electrician, okay, get the electrician and then call me when we'll sign all the paperwork. And then the minute the electrician is done, then we'll come in, we'll put the ATM in it. So I either make a decision to either put it where there is electricity, or I make a decision that we'll wait until electricity is on the location. And then the other thing is how I position myself is when we go into the location and I talk to them and I said, look, here's where I want to put the ATM. And I tell them I want to put the ATM because I know there's electricity. And the other thing that I do is I always look for 2 or 3 different spots that has electricity that would be good spots. Sometimes it might not be the best spot for the ATM, but I'm gonna go where there is electricity and not wait for them to put electricity in. And the other thing that I do is position myself to make sure that they know up front, hey, for us to put this ATM in the store, we have to bolt it down. However that looks, if it's a wood floor from going from the top up or from cement going from the bottom down. So it just depends on what kind of floor it is, but we always make sure. But I learned that lesson, and it was a big mistake, but that mistake has probably paid dividends for me just because I lost it once. Thank God we got everything reimbursed, and I don't make that mistake anymore.